Tag TV and Tag Radio be seen and heard by both technology users and technology producers throughout the state of Georgia and around the world. Low cost, big benefits, powerhouse online branded video and audio has arrived. Tag TV, Tag Radio, there's a lot more to know. This edition of Tech Talk is brought to you by GlobalSpeak.com, new media consultants, corporate video and audio communications, video and audio production and distribution, live and virtual event production. Tag TV and Tag Radio is a service of GlobalSpeak.com, creatively delivering powerful marketing, video, and audio solutions. Okay, now, this is a company mission. Listen, this decade, we will create and extend computing technologies to connect and enrich the lives of every person on Earth. 82,500 employees worldwide and growing. Over half of those reside in the United States. And net revenues, well, last year, $54 billion. In fact, 2011 was an outstanding year for Intel. Despite a tough macroeconomic environment, the company set records in platform unit sales, revenue, and earnings, reflecting strong global demand for its products and solid employee execution around the world. Greetings, everyone. It's Tuesday, November 19, 2012, and a special Thanksgiving holiday. All the best to all of our TAG members and TAG Radio loyal listeners. Intel, one global industry leader and innovator that designs and builds the essential technologies that serve as the very foundation of the world's computing devices. Products and initiatives that continuously advance how people work and live. An American multinational semiconductor chip maker that is today the world's largest and highest valued. Up to today's very special Tech Talk with Technology Association of Georgia President Tino Mantella, an exclusive interview with Christopher J. C.J. Bruno, Corporate VP and General Manager, Intel Americas. CJ is responsible for Intel sales and marketing results in the Americas. After joining Intel in '84 and spending 3 years in business manufacturing planning, Bruno has spent the balance of his Intel career in various sales and marketing assignments. After his early years in '82-'86 processor business planning, he moved to large account customer marketing. Bruno then spent over 10 years in sales, driving Intel's business with a large multinational customer, holding positions of field sales engineer and market development manager. CJ joined the Americas Sales and Marketing Management staff in '99. Prior to his current assignment as General Manager of Intel Americas, he spent 6 years as the Director of Marketing in the Americas geography, responsible for generating consumption demand and building the Intel brand. Bruno was appointed Vice President of the Sales and Marketing Group in 2008. The Tech Talk takes Tino inside Intel to gain the insights of Intel Inside, a company who has become a household name as we Tech Talk Intel today and beyond with Vice President and General Manager, Intel Americas, Christopher J. C.J. Bruno.
CJ, thank you for joining me on Tech Talk today.
Pleasure to be on the program. Thanks.
So I want to talk first about the trends in computing. Obviously, Intel sits right in the center of all this, and life is changing fast in the world of technology. So what do you see as the most important trends or the most significant trends coming forth as we get ready for this new year?
You know, there's probably two trends in technology I'd pick to highlight from several that we're seeing, as you said, in this fast-paced world. First, devices. As humans, consumers or business people, students, you name it, we have personal compute devices of all shapes and sizes in our hands now virtually every waking moment. We all have many screens in our lives, and that ubiquity of device and the need to be connected, the need to have your application or your content available to you 24/7, 365, when you want it, on the device you want it, has become a trend that not only drives our business, but the industry at large. And the flip side of that device trend is one of data. Those devices are generating an enormous amount of data. Businesses generate an enormous amount of data. And in fact, machines are now generating an enormous amount of data. So whether it's people-generated, business-generated, or machine-generated, the devices that I just talked about are generating an explosion in data. And that data needs to be computed so that we can get information out of it. It needs to be stored. It needs to be moved around a network. So the ubiquity of devices driving the explosion of data are two factors that are having a huge impact on the technology industry of late.
And I guess securing all that as well, right?
No doubt about it. If you can't store it, move it around your network safely and securely in a very highly managed way, it's very, very expensive and injects a bunch of risk into your enterprise, which is something none of us want. So security is an absolute important factor there.
Well, shifting gears a bit, back to Intel, and I'm sure that most people, anybody watching TV nowadays, has picked up the commercials, the Ultrabook. Tell us about the Ultrabook and what you expect to happen in respect to that. And again, we're talking about trends and the impact on technology.
Sure. What we're doing with the industry, again, is revolutionizing computing one more time. We're reinventing the computer to be, frankly, the best of the tablet use experience, right along with the best in your PC experience, a two-for-one kind of solution for customers and business people. The best of your tablet, yet the PC capability when you need it as well. Strong collaboration with the industry at large now for the last year and a half is generating an exciting array, a frankly stunning array of new products for consumers and businesses to make decisions to take into their enterprise or use in their lives. These Ultrabooks are thin, attractive, responsive, long battery life. They wake up in a flash. They're very secure, as you mentioned. This adoption we're seeing in both the business world and the consumer world, even just a year and a half into this revolution. An exciting catalyst to it all is touch and enabling Ultrabooks with touch. In the holiday season, shopping season that's upon us, you'll see firsthand in the stores Ultrabooks with touch that really will deliver a no-compromise solution. You'll see designs that detach over time from the keyboard that they're connected to. You'll see them slide and twist. You'll see them turn 180 degrees. Again, the best of your tablet experience with everything you've known and wanted and trust in your PC. All in one. Ultrabook inspired by Intel.
And I'm thinking in 3 years, I can't see that there's going to be a lot of folks carrying around a tablet and some type of a laptop. It's all coming together, right? I mean, it makes just so much sense. I'm a big laptop user, but I would bring the tablet along, but, it's kind of cumbersome to have a couple different devices, so you guys are pulling them together.
I think we see it the exact same way. As I mentioned earlier, we all have so many screens in our lives, if you will, and simplification and ease of use and less complexity is something we all strive in our personal lives and our business lives. So absolutely, if we can unify some of those devices and make them a singular solution rather than two or three at a time, consumers and business people will love it.
So I got to be on a panel with the Lieutenant Governor a short time ago, and we had on the panel as well a head of a hospital, and he was talking about how many years behind he felt the hospitals were in respect to health IT and electronic medical records, and of course he contrasted that to some of the other industries that are much more advanced, and you still go into the doctor's office and most of the time fill out paper and doesn't necessarily sync up to anything, and the next time you go back you have the same experience and you're saying, I just filled that out a year ago. Don't you guys have this stuff? So and I know Intel's right in the middle of this. I know you're participating in our Health IT Summit that's coming up December 4th. So talk a little bit about where Intel is positioned in respect to healthcare IT high growth area, but bring it to life a bit.
You bet. Your description is spot on. At Intel, we see the healthcare space as, just as you said, a segment or a vertical market that is just crying out for technology to do so many things for it. You mentioned a few of them. Storing and, more importantly, moving around safely and securely patient records. Improving monitoring of patients remotely, so patients can be in home instead of in some sort of facility, treatment facility or care facility. Using technology to make faster, more accurate diagnoses, to bring new drugs to market more quickly, or increase quality of care, accelerate treatment. These are all things that technology can bring to the healthcare space. We've got a dedicated health strategy and solutions team inside Intel, that focuses with the industry, with the entire ecosystem, to solve those real healthcare problems that I mentioned. We truly are becoming key in helping the healthcare industry be not only more efficient, but more importantly, deliver a much, much higher quality of care. Whether it's data analytics that reduce fraud, or delivering better clinical experiences or clinical decision support tools, these are areas where large hospitals or small, sole practitioners or large groups, payers or providers, no matter where you sit in the healthcare segment, we are seeing significant benefit from embracing technology throughout the healthcare sector. Very exciting to watch and one of the most rewarding parts of our job.
Well, it's certainly a great need, and I'm sure with the Affordable Care Act or Obamacare that there's going to be a real need for efficiencies and effectiveness. So appreciate what Intel is doing in that whole space. Another area that's an opportunity to challenge is workforce. We know that in Georgia right now there's about 4,000 technology jobs open that are really difficult to fill. In fact, some of them have been sitting open, according to our last decision maker survey, which was done a few months ago, for more than 6 months. So, but I know Intel is playing a role in terms of this academic level, building a pipeline of technology graduates. So talk a little bit about the role you are playing in that area.
You bet, Tino. This is an area that truly helps you leap out of bed in the morning. Applying education or technology to the education space in every facet, is critical. You mentioned one. We've been long-time proponents of increased education in particularly math and science, but across the board. And that investment that Intel makes, and I'm very proud from a corporate perspective to confirm some of the stats I'm sure you've seen. We actually spend about $100 million a year in this space, across 70 countries worldwide, in order to facilitate what you're talking about, higher education, more advanced math and science study. But just as in the healthcare example we used a moment ago, there's a significant number of ways we're bringing technology to bear here. We've trained over 10 million teachers around the world, number one. Two, we've deployed over 10 million PCs to elementary school kids around the world through the ecosystem and through our customers and partners. It's an exciting opportunity to expose kids to technology at a very young age in countries where you think that might not be the case. We do curriculum development. We work with publishers and application developers to build software and apps for this space. We're the proud sponsor of the Intel International Science Fair, which stimulates literally up to 7 million kids a year vying for 1,500 slots in our finalist science fair, with significant prizes that generate stimulation of application of academics into the technology area. And last but not least, millions of dollars university level, to do what you were talking about at the beginning, and that is increase the advancement of it, science and math, engineering, earth and computer sciences. We're very proud of our track record there, and yet we've got so much more to do as we lean in. In Georgia in particular, whether it's with Georgia State or, of course, Georgia Tech, we're proud of executing just as I described in Georgia alone. I checked the tabulation, and since 2001, the last decade or so, we've invested more than $22 million.
Wow.
Hired an enormous amount of graduates from Georgia State and Georgia Tech, so we're doing our shares.
Yeah, that's terrific and important. So I'd have time for one more question, CJ. I know a lot of people listening in will have heard of Intel Capital, but they may not know really what Intel Capital does. So talk a bit about what the role is of Intel Capital.
Will do, Tino. Intel Capital is, simply put, the investment arm, the merger and acquisition arm of Intel. Intel Capital's vision is pretty clear. It's to be the preeminent global investing organization. And they bring that portfolio of companies, now some $10 billion plus strong across 1,200 or so companies, Tino, 50 countries plus covered, hundreds of acquisitions, all brought to bear, as an investment and mergers and acquisition arm of the corporation. So a very strategic tool for us, not only in the venture space, but in investing in the ecosystem to deliver some of the solutions that we've talked about on the program, Ultrabooks, healthcare solutions, education solutions. So it's an in-house investment arm that can be brought to bear to further not only our financial portfolio, but more importantly, further the strategy and the tactics of the company. In Georgia, our friends at Jolex and Energy Management Solutions Company are part of the Intel Capital portfolio of companies.
Oh, that's really good. Tom Noonan, of course, came out of ISS and part of the deal that sold that company, and it was good to see him get back into the mix and get involved with Julex. So, and that was going to be my final question in terms of partners here in Georgia. So glad to see you're looking at our state in terms of prospective companies to invest in, partner with, strategic alliances. So that's terrific.
In another key area of the business, the energy management solution space, where Julex is doing just that, right, with performing the monitoring and analyzing energy consumption across networks. Very exciting opportunity for them.
Well, CJ, I really appreciate what you do for the certainly Georgia and beyond. And thanks for joining me on Tech Talk today.
It's a great pleasure, Tino. Thanks for having me in to talk to the TAG members.